Hey everyone, welcome to Pouring Takes. I'm Charlie Van.
And I am Rayya, coming to you guys from one of our favorite spots in the DFW area, Maple Landing, right outside of Love Field Airport. I love this airplane-themed dive bar.
I love it too. One, they have the food here and the drinks are incredible. They show now the UFC fights. UFC 301 will be shown here.
And we are definitely going to roll through.
302, sorry.
302
yeah,
on
302.
June 1st.
On June 1st, we will be here. Great food, always having great sports on. Just love the atmosphere, and it is a great weather day here as you're battling
it's always me with
bee.
the flies and the gnats.
Is that a fly or is that a bee?
Please don't start.
It just wants to know all the buzz that we're about to talk about in our world. There we go.
Oh, speaking of drinks, we have decided to say, all right, what are the signature drinks here over at Maple Landing? Outside of doing the $6 whiskeys, they do have some specialty cocktails. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we had to get our hands on them. So, Charlie Van, what are you drinking?
Yes, so I decided to go with the Texas Mule. It has like Crown Royal Peach in it, some ginger, some lime juice. So super excited to give this a shot here. What about you? What are you sipping on over there?
I've got the Texas Blue Mojito. Looks to me like essentially a blueberry mojito. Got your lime, your rum, the mint leaves, and of course the blueberries and some simple syrup. I am dying to try this.
Very refreshing it sounds. So cheers.
So cheers to Maple Landing and cheers to finishing our series.
Yes, both of our series. Go Stars, go Mavs. What a weekend in Dallas sports.
Oh my gosh, this is so refreshing.
Oh, that is really, really good. And I forgot there's also ginger beer in here too.
Of course, it's a mule. Do you want to try
mine? That's true.
mine?
I totally.
You want to swap?
I haven't had a mule in a while, so here you go.
And yours is a whiskey mule instead of a vodka mule, so I might actually like this.
That's pretty refreshing, especially now that we're getting into that summer weather now.
Oh, this is good.
It is really good.
That Crown Peach will get you.
It will. I'll let you know here in a second. But, very refreshing. But what is very refreshing, Rayya, is that both the Mavs and the Stars have advanced to their conference finals. What's going through your mind right now? Did you even fathom this a couple weeks ago?
You know, given the way that the Mavs were picking up the intensity, I had more confidence about the Mavs than I did the Stars. Even though the Stars finished first overall in their conference, I was like, every team in the playoffs in the NHL is just so good. And you could say the same thing about the Mavs starting with the Clippers and then going to Oklahoma City. But I didn't imagine in my wildest dreams that both of our teams would be playing in their conference finals.
This is a first, too, for having both of these two franchises make it to the conference finals at the same time. So
can you believe that hasn't happened before?
I know, especially with how long these franchises have been around. Because I would say, the Stars, end of the 90s, that was their reign where Mavs didn't really start heating up to, 02, 03, 04 is
correct,
really when they seen the surge. And then Stars went through a little shakiness, of course, eventually Madonna. But, that just tells you how, tough playoffs can be, but now how great the evolution of both these franchises have become.
Yeah, and I believe we are the first city in the last, I think it's been about 10 years. I forgot. I saw the list on Instagram right before I came here, but it's been about 10 years since the same city was able to host two teams in conference finals at the same time.
It's a good problem to have. Stressful, but a very good problem.
Did you see the meme I posted on my Instagram story today with the dragons?
Yes. Oh, no, I've seen that one before, and how everybody but the Cowboys look serious.
Yes. So you've got the three strong, scary dragons and the goofy dragon.
Well, the one they kind of left out there only just because the focus isn't on this team as much, but FC Dallas in 2019 made their conference finals, so that's something to note. It's just, obviously, those are the three other big main sports here that we really put a lot of focus. But, yes. And how about our XFL team? Well, now UFL team, the Renegades, winning their championship last year.
That's true. That is true. They did. It's a good time to be a DFW sports fan, don't you think?
It is. And let's take a victory shot for that, our signature green tea shots that we always like to take.
Can we talk about how many of these we did during the Stars game?
A lot. All the way till overtime.
Yes, thank you, Harwood Tavern, for having us. We participated in everything, shots and karaoke. We had a great night.
We did. We always like to have fun. But, man, what electric night. What electric Saturday night for the Mavs. So here we go. There we go. What a Monday to go into.
Oh, my God.
It's a little bigger shot.
Struggle City, population me. Oh, God. I feel like Friday and Saturday are coming back to haunt me, and technically Sunday, too. Let's just say
no
I
real
celebrated
recovery
a
day.
little too hard this weekend.
So you kind of did the Charlie Van Wildcard weekend.
I did, and what was really funny is I had a random meeting with my boss. I don't typically have meetings with my boss on Mondays, but he looked at me, and he's a big sports fan, and he goes, "You celebrated all weekend, didn't you?" And I'm like, "Can you tell over Teams that I'm a hot mess?"
Yeah, I started losing. I came home Friday night because it was like 1 a.m.
I left you at like 1:30, something like that.
And so it's probably 2-ish, and I made a recap because I did a prediction.
I did mine in the garage.
My voice was so raspy. It's like I smoked like 20 cigarettes.
I woke up this morning with a raspy voice. I was like, we're going to have to be on vocal rest because we got a lot of work coming up for us, which we'll get into a little bit later after we talk about our teams here.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, it's just a good, like I said, good problem to have. The energy, both teams closing out their game 6, both get a little bit of a rest. Mavs not as much, but Stars get 5 days.
The Mavs and Stars get their rest, and so do we. And lucky for us, all of these games are going to be on alternating nights. Thank God. I don't have to split screen anymore. And we have 7 p.m. start times. Let's
go. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Shout out Dak Prescott.
No, I like that. I like that 7 p.m. These late games have just been a crusher. Of course, we're going to stay up. We're loyal. But it is taxing, but I'm so excited. Western Conference Finals, prime time.
Who do you want to start with? Let's start with the Mavs since we actually know their opponent. Mavs Mavs as the 5th seed now have to play Minnesota, who I believe was the second seed.
Were they second or
third?
Third. They were third. They were. Well, it's interesting because there was a rotation all the way to the end of the season.
Yeah, like Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota all rotated.
Yeah.
It was wild. It was a very scary,
musical chairs.
Yeah, it was a scary fight to the finish for all teams involved. So Minnesota wrapped up with their last series against Denver in the wildest way. Like, our win was a come-from-behind win. Well, so was Minnesota's. Minnesota was down as much as 20 points in their Game 7.
Yeah, that first half looked very choppy, and he'll tell you, Anthony Edwards did not have a great offensive night. Good defensive night.
6 for 24?
Yeah.
What was that stat?
By the way, that was the most funniest
press conference.
Him and how, just go look it up. I won't bring it, but it's funny. They just talk about how losing.
You can make fun of yourself when you're winning games.
Yeah. Exactly.
And what they did was they spread it around the team. They said, all right, our big guy Ant is not having a good night. Who else is going to step up? And they were able to erase that big lead and steal the game.
Yeah, and especially, kudos to them. Obviously they had a very strong start being up 2-0, but then 3 straight losses, coming back in Game 5, and then being down at 20. So team knows how to really make adjustments. They don't quit.
They're well coached.
Yeah, very well coached, and their defense is very stellar.
I believe they're one of the top defenses in the league.
They are. They're 8th, I think.
Okay, yeah. I thought they were a little higher.
In our coming matchup as far as ratings. They may be higher than that as far as overall. But, they don't – you can't leave the door open for them. And
Absolutely
that's what
not.
is scary. But, and on the Denver side, just real quick, you just saw a fade, and where was Jamal Murray? And Jokic can't do it all, and he was missing these threes that – I know he's not a big 3 guy, but those are the ones you got to make in those moments.
Did you have a preference when you're watching that Game 7? Because at this point, we've already clinched, right? We're already moving on. Did you have a preference of who you wanted to face?
Oh,
in the next round?
I wanted Denver.
You wanted Denver, okay.
I wanted Denver because because I think we play better defense than they can. We've seen this matchup. We're also, I think, a little bit more athletic when it comes to the offense. Not discrediting Denver, but if Murray goes away, then you can expose Jokic. And I think now we have the tools to –
Did you just call me Jokic?
Jokic. Joker.
Joker.
I feel like you can trap him a little bit. And I feel like we have the tools. I just feel like we'll get into our matchup here in a second. I just feel like Timberwolves are just that scary. Like, you can't leave the door open.
I agree. Ironically, I actually wanted the T-Wolves. I felt like that's a better matchup for us. Mm-hmm. I feel like we can play a little bit of small ball and roll with the whole speed kills mentality. Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns are 2 very, very tall people. Rudy Gobert,
you're going to have to battle a fly.
I know. Can you leave me alone? I was working through that.
It's because you're so fly. That's why.
Drink. Anyway, Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns are two absolute studs of big men. But what kills height is speed. And we have guys like Josh Green, Kyrie Irving, Dante Exum, who can move without the ball and be open for three-pointers, and that is the way you're going to be able to beat this Minnesota team. It has to be dynamic. And on that note, you know Luka's not the fastest guy on the court, but he can be the most aggressive. So having that balance of speed and power between Kyrie and Luka is going to go a long way in this matchup.
And he could definitely, where you saw also in the Thunder success, that aggressiveness, draw those fouls as much needed, which came to our favor.
Just make your dang free throws.
Just make your dang free throws. But, man, he made a historic 3 triple-doubles, and that's what you're going to need, too. And, I mean, I think, too, with Kyrie as well, I mean, he's been such a factor in that. And we've been talking. You said he is the leader of this court,
you saw the
which
video
is great.
I sent you?
Yeah. Well, it's apparent. It's apparent. Also, he's the most experienced guy on that court. He is Mr. Postseason, yeah.
And he's undefeated in closeout games, which is spectacular.
14-0 in
Amazing.
clinch opportunities. So if this does come down to the wire, we know someone. And, also another big credit is he doesn't get a lot of credit, but he just got a nice extension, is Jason Kidd. The adjustments that he has been able to make in these games. And he's a champion, too. So
yeah, I was going to say, in this matchup in particular, coaching is going to be key. We don't have, some guy like a LeBron James calling the shots on the court. Mm-hmm. Yes, Luka is Luka, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to coaching and who's going to make the better adjustments and who's going to make the adjustments the fastest to win these games. These games should be going down to the wire, and it's going to be so much fun. Must-see TV, people.
Do you think it's fair how immediately everyone picked against us last night?
Do it.
Yeah.
Pick against us. I don't even care. We weren't even supposed to be where we are today as a 5 seed, right? No one gave us a shot against the Clippers because of our history. No one gave us a shot against Oklahoma City because they were number 1 in the West. All right, pick against us again. I dare you.
Well, here's the thing. I look at this matchup with Timberwolves. I don't see much of a difference from Thunder other than maybe a little bit better defense and more experience.
Yep.
But the thing about
But they don't have, outside of Rudy Gobert, they don't really have playoff experience.
And you can foul him out. It doesn't take too much to foul out.
I mean, we played the Jazz.
Yeah.
What was that? The year that we went to the Western Conference Final, 2 years ago? He was on the Jazz.
Yeah, no, we can box him out. I think another thing is Derek Lively, what he's been able to do in his rookie season is incredible. And, of course, Derek Jones has been so good. And also PJ and Gafford. That's where we see him.
You know who's going to have to play minutes in this series?
Your favorite.
I think we're going to see Dwight Powell in this series.
Hopefully we can see Maxey back, but it's going to be
AC joint sprain takes months, not weeks.
But they've been done well without him.
I hate to see it, but Dwight Powell is probably going to show up in limited minutes to give Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford that rest because they are going to be playing a lot. They're going to be interchanging at that 5 spot, trying to deal with Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert simultaneously. Or you're going to be playing both of them at the same time. Possibly. I don't know what Jason Kidd's thinking. But I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Dwight Powell minutes. And as long as Dwight Powell flails his arms less, it's going to be fine, guys. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, I will say, okay, let me put it this. What is 2 main concerns and 2 main, this is where I feel the most confidence, and this is how, if they're going to win this is how they're going to do it.
Okay, so I'll say my main concern is Anthony Edwards is probably the most dynamic scorer in the game right now. I think everyone says he's the future face of the NBA. Move over Steph, move over LeBron. No, he is the face of the NBA. He has already arrived, and I am actually kind of terrified. So I think having to deal with him is going to be a little challenging, but I do have faith in our defense. We've got really great defenders, whether it's Luka, Dante Exum's a decent defender, and then we have that length between, like you said, Derek Jones, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively. The other thing that probably concerns me is, the term house money?
Yeah.
I think Minnesota is going to play this series like they have nothing to lose because guess what? They don't.
They don't.
They are a bunch of puppies, essentially. that are thrown on the biggest stage. Minnesota hasn't even made significant progress in the playoffs in about 25 years. So anything that happens in this series, they're going to be applauded for. Whether they win or lose, it's going to be a success. And I think that really plays into their favor. So there's no real, oh my God, we have to win this. Whereas like for someone like Luka, okay, so you've been in the league for this amount of time. You're a once-in-a-generational player. But what have you done for me outside of one Western Conference appearance? So I think that scares me a little bit. On the flip side, good things. Like I said, we have a rotation of big men that we can play around with and see what fits over the 7-game series. I mean, we've seen us lose game 1 and win the series, so I'm not worried about it. I love the idea of testing the water and not fully committing to a strategy right off the bat. So I think having those options, and we have a deep bench. As you saw with some of these other playoff teams, looking at you, the Knicks, having a deep bench is crucial. Being able to say, all right, we're going to have to play Dwight Powell for maybe 5 to 7 minutes in this game to give the other guys a breather is a luxury. Or even having guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Dante Exum, Josh Green to be able to come off the bench to relieve a Kyrie or a Luka. That is going to be very, very crucial in this series. Minnesota's going to want to push us and be aggressive, and it's going to be tough for our guys to keep up from a cardio standpoint.
For me, my couple of concerns, I'm not going to go – this contributes to individual players, but just overall, like, my thing that concerns me is the turnovers. That really got us in that first half on Game 6, and this is – Minnesota's not a team you want to do that. I feel like we're a very duality team. Like, we either start off really hot, and then, like, Game 4, we let someone back in, or we start off really slow like we did. You just can't do it with this team. You cannot give them any inch because they are going to push that. They are young, and that young pace – we just have to be able to neutral that.
Can I be annoying about that? I actually like being a slow starter. I like a slow burn, and I'm not trying to be sexual, I promise. What I'm trying to say is I don't think you have to come out against Minnesota and punch them in the mouth every game. Like I said, I'm a data person. I'm okay with a little bit of test and learn in games 1 and 2. Now, if we're starting slow in game 6, okay, yes.
But that's what I mean.
Concerning.
That's kind of my
But I'm
worry.
just saying, I think you got to remember this. Minnesota team is young and inexperienced, right? So you let them think they can kick your ass in the first half, and then you build from there. That's all I'm saying.
No, I mean, here, like, I get that point, but Game 6 could have very close to loss if that foul hadn't. So
absolutely, you're not wrong.
I mean, and I think it was Thunder's inexperience too. The reason why they could not capitalize, and they didn't make the adjustments, necessarily, and that does come with their experience. I'm just saying, like, there is that duality. We'll see what it has bit us before in the past. I will say my other concern, obviously, health. That's the big thing. Luka needs to stay healthy. Kyrie needs to stay healthy. They had such an exciting series this second round, and they're up for another one if they can stay on those. If those two can really definitely stay on those courts. I'll say my positive though. I'm going to piggyback off. The depth is great, and 2, Jason Kidd. He has the experience, and not just from a coaching standpoint, but from a player standpoint. He has as much qualms as we've had just in the past. Those are slowly going out the door, but this is his big moment to really shut that door and really earn. I think he's become one of the best coaches. I would say my honorable mention just goes to that Luka Kai. I mean, the fact that they are working, they're not being too alphas.
Did you watch their press conference?
Yes, I love it, and that's why I give them the best shot to win this.
They remind me of you and me. Like, I feel like you and I are very Luka and Kyrie. You're the Luka, I think, and I just feel like you put yourself out there a little bit more. You know everything a little bit, and you're very, very much more confident and out there than I am. But I think, like, mentally,
I yell at the refs.
I'm able to keep you in check. Yes,
I yell at the refs.
You said it, not
from
me.
The stands.
But even we have moments in our friendship where you're the more emotional one out of the two of us, and I'm always like, I grab your wrist, I grab your arm, and I'm like, no, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great. So every time I see those videos of, like, Luka and Kyrie, like, loving on each other, I'm like, oh my God, that's me and Charlie.
Well, you need that, and I mean, and they have it too on a with Anthony and that. But I feel like what Luka and Kyrie have is very magic. And once again, you just said the stat 14-0 as far as closing, and I think that matters. So I say bring it on as well. I say 6 games, the Mavs.
You're saying 6 games because you want us to close it out in Game 6, correct?
Yeah, well, the one thing I've noticed is like Timberwolves do start off hot, but
I
can
meant to
they
say close it out at home in Game 6. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Because you know how electric it is here, and I think that plays a big difference.
It's the Western Conference Finals. It's going 7. It has to go 7. That is what the people want. It's what the basketball gods want. It's what probably ESPN wants. To be
And we'll just go
honest.
still Pete DeBoer for a second, since it is a Game 7, since he's undefeated 8-0.
But these Mavericks have proved they can also win on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, it's going to be a really good time. Like I want more than anything for us to move on. I believe that we can move on. But just know this series is going to be must-see TV, and it quite literally will go either way.
Now, I will say, I was telling our producer, Tanner, this on the way here. I was just talking about, Minnesota, they play with a chip on their shoulder. If you talk to any Minnesota fan, it's been a lot of heartbreak for a lot of their teams for many years. I mean, it's 20 years since this team's been a conference final. They've never been to an NBA final. They were founded in 1989, so 35 years ago. So they've been waiting for this. So we'll see. Can it be their moment? I think people are underestimated just because it's that goldfish memory, that flash in the pan. But
what have you done for me lately?
Yeah. But who has the experience? And this team is pretty stacked with that as far as the Mavs go.
I agree. Well, like I said, series starts on Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
7 or 7:30 tip-off. I can't remember. TNT is going to delay it. Also, all these games are on TNT, so it'll be
Awesome.
a lot of fun. I love TNT.
So I can get it on my HBO Max app.
Correct. But like I said, kind of how we did reaction videos in the last series, we'll kind of keep those up. So stay tuned on our TikTok. And if you don't know how to find us on TikTok, look at pouringtakes.com. Links to all of our socials, back to our YouTube, etc., to Spotify, Apple. But just keep up with us. Send us your opinions. Comment. Call me out because I say a lot of silly things. And so does Charlie.
Well, before we move on, I don't want to put a damper on things. As much as we love to have a victory shot, last Monday on the show, I predicted Mavs would win. They didn't. You predicted Stars would lose. They did not.
Didn't.
So
a shot take payoff, my friend. Oh, that's empty.
Yeah. That was a Victor Vaughn. All right.
Another green tea.
Here we go. I don't know if you say cheers to a losing shot. I don't know. Maybe you do.
I think we've been doing that the
Okay,
entirety of the episode.
All right. But yes, on to our Dallas Stars who
Before I
closed
move
it out.
on. Before we move on, if you guys have a shot suggestion for us because you are tired of us watching shooting green teas, let us know. We'll try anything once. See the oil slick episode.
Sometimes twice. Depends.
And a third time if we really like it.
Yeah, no. And also, if there's any drinks or cocktails, we come to a lot of cool places. They have full bar. They can whip something up. So if you have, any suggestions, used to we would do, a cocktail versus opposing team. So.
Ooh, that's probably what we should do next week. We should do a cocktail from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota. And then we should do a cocktail from wherever the Stars are going next. Easy transition. Dallas Stars taking that series Friday night against the Colorado Avalanche. I almost did it again. I almost blanked on the Colorado Avalanche.
She is forgetting the 22 champions.
They're just irrelevant at this point. They're up there in the altitude.
They're just
Nobody
a snowball
cares.
rolling around.
They're wannabe strong mountains. Anyway, Dallas Stars seal the deal in a double overtime absolute thriller where Charlie and I were literally on the edge of our seats. By the way, I love that I got to watch that game with you.
That was so much fun, and we were karaokeing too. So.
Okay, so funny story before we get into the actual logistics of sports. Charlie and I are at Harwood Tavern. We were signing up for karaoke. I think we sang like 4 songs each that night.
Around that.
Because, like I said, the game went into double overtime. We had to do something during intermission to get our nerves out. And I happened to do my last song during that double OT.
Yeah.
And
right when Duchesne scored.
Right, he scored one. So I'm like watching the game. watching the lyrics because at this point I'm inebriated and I don't fully remember the lyrics to Taylor Swift's 22. So there were a bunch of Swifties at the bar too, so that was the influence. I was influenced to do a Taylor Swift song. And I'm up there. I think it was the first chorus. As I'm singing, I see the goal score, and I said, I don't know about you. And then I yelled in the mic, but we're going to the Western Conference Finals. And the entire bar lost their shit. How much more iconic than that does it get?
Man, that was epic. And you know, all, you know, being Stars fans, you know, our biggest, like, real nerves is that overtime. And the fact that we overcame that, especially going double overtime, they never quit. Even after a very questionable goal, or goal that was not called a goal, you know.
I could argue, you know this, you already know this, I agreed with the call.
I do not agree with the call.
I'm a bad Stars fan, but
I do not agree with it, and I'll go with the experts that don't agree with it. It's ticky-tacky, and you don't have that crap in the playoffs. With that being said, didn't matter.
Do we need VAR in hockey?
Yeah, that's actually their replay. Like, well, because other sports, they'll review, and they will take back the calls, but hockey's one of those that, like, they just keep it. And you know what they told with Marshman is because our guy's butt was over the line, or his ass was over the line. I was being PG.
To me, when I look at that goal or non-goal, I think it was the position of the stick of our player in front of the goalie. Even though he was pushed into the goalie by the opposing player, I think that was what was the reason for the goal. Goalie interference is very interesting, and I think we could do a whole episode on what is goalie interference at this point, because there's a lot of different situations where goalie interference has essentially ruined games, but you have to be able to give the goalie a fair chance to make a play. And in that case, I could see why. And that's why I looked at you. When they waved off the goal, what did I say to you? I said, don't worry. We have this. We are winning tonight. Don't worry about it. And that is why I'm more Kyrie than I am Luka.
You're right about that. Still ticky-tacky, and that's why I'm more Luka. I was yelling at that ref that could not hear me.
Oh, he was big mad.
But, you know, it is what, hey, but you know what? It just showed the shots on goal, 38 to, like, 20-something.
Yeah, it was a
which
big
is not what we
disparity.
saw in Game 5, a lot less. So, regardless, karma was coming. It was going to happen. And I'm so happy for Matt Duchene. Talk about as far as the defensive pickup, which we needed. Our defense has elevated as
Absolutely.
well, which has been the story. And, you know, I'm not sure, you know, the news on Rope yet.
I think we're okay.
I'll say this. I think we're okay. He's still a factor, but you know what? All the support is stepping up.
You know what we have in Dallas?
Wyatt Johnson? Logan Stankoven?
We have deep benches in Dallas.
Yeah, we have depth.
That is our, like...
Double D.
Anyway, that is our X factor here in Dallas, is that we have deep benches and that next man up mentality across the American Airlines Center is what wins us games. When they announced that Rupe Hintz was out with a wrist injury, you freaked out. You texted me. You freaked out.
He's one of the best assisters in the league and offensive. I didn't think it was all in be all, but he's definitely an X factor, and that is a
freaked
match.
out. He freaked out. And
I
it's fine.
did. Well,
you
know,
should.
Rope's my guy.
He's your guy. He's a top goal scorer. He makes everybody better around him. I'm not denying that. But when I saw it, I said, good. Go get healthy, because I'm going to need you later. I'm going to need you in a Western Conference final. I'm going to need you in a Stanley Cup final. Take all the time you need, because this team is special. This team, down to the fourth line, down to the farm system that we're pulling dudes from, is perfection.
But can I ask about your superstition text? Like your superstitions? Like, I don't believe in those when we're the number one team and the way we're playing number one. It's just one thing to be number one, but to play like it, to beat the last two champions in the Stanley Cup, and the way we're beating them too. We can either dominate, or now we've come over our boogeyman type of, like, when it comes to overtime, and our defense is electric. And also, you know who's been electric? Okay, Game 5 wasn't his best, but is Jake Ottinger, and especially on the road. His on-the-road percentage is high, but we needed him to step up, and boy, has he.
Yeah, Ottinger's bad day is still better than a lot of the NHL goalies' good days.
No, definitely, and I don't even think some of those goals were his fault on Wednesday. The defense, they started off hot. I mean, they started off in that game, and it's going to happen. That was a must-win for Colorado. They're not going to go away easily, but it doesn't matter.
And Colorado also had to play emotional, right?
They did.
Colorado was literally fighting for their lives, as the kids say.
They lost one of their star players for suspension.
Right, and it's really hard to defend that. When it goes back to what I was saying about Minnesota and the house money, right? When you play like you have nothing to lose and you go broke, think about the end of the Justin Gaethje Max Holloway fight. Those two literally have nothing to lose fighting each other, and that's why they said center of the octagon, last 10 seconds, all out. Max Holloway takes it off the most epic knockout. That's essentially what your mindset has to be in these elimination games when you're the team doing the eliminating.
Well, and I'll say this: like I was interested still mentally though of how our adjustments were going to be going to Game 6 because you had them on the ropes. You had them on the ropes, and you know what? That's what potential champions do. Like, okay, we're down, we're going to still do it again. We'll take it to overtime, and no composure lost. And you know who also woke up a little bit more? We haven't seen him as much? Joe Pavelski.
Ah, Daddy Joe. The father of the entire team, that is.
Well, I'm actually glad that we don't have to completely rely on all the time, where maybe a year ago you did. And that just shows you his tutelage on the team and these younger guys under him, too, that I'm sure he's mentoring. Obviously, Wyatt Johnson, but Logan. But then even Tyler Sagan's having a great year and great postseason as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's been nice. I don't have it on me right now, but I do have a Joe Pavelski friendship bracelet. I loaned it to a fellow Stars fan, and I literally saw him yesterday. He goes, I need to give you your bracelet back. And I said, no, you keep that sucker. You keep that sucker till we win the cup. And then you give it back to me. Don't give it back to me right now.
Yeah. Maybe that would be superstitious.
I am superstitious. I don't want it. I gave it to him out of the goodness of my heart. And now he can wear it whenever the Stars are on, and hopefully it's good juju for all.
And, we gave Kid a lot of props. Got to give DeBoer. I mean, just the way he's kept this team together, confident, ready, the adjustments he's made. I think he's done a phenomenal job. I'll be honest, I don't know the complete details of his contract, but, man, that guy is due a deal here. I would love to see him here for quite some time.
I fully agree with you.
So it's hard to talk about what's next because we'll know tonight. We can talk just real quick about that. Vancouver.
I was going to say, we can same question I had earlier. Yeah. Going into this Western Conference Final, do you have a preference on which of these Canadian teams we're going to face?
Well, I mean, right now, I'll be honest, and this is kind of, I don't want to kick someone when they're down, but taking them Vancouver, I mean, they just.
Why are you always trying to take the easy way out?
It's not. What is this? What is this?
In a boat.
No, she's going Rocky. No easy way out. Tanner over there. Yeah, Rocky 4. One of my favorite movies. No, I mean, I just think stylistic. I mean, honestly, bring them both. And here's the reason why. Because they're going to be both beat.
Because I called you out.
No, I said bring them both. Here's the reason why. Look at that series. Nobody's kept a consistent, lead. They're both going to beat each other up. Sorry, the mic is I'm just far and away. But unfortunately for Vancouver, and my thoughts are with Brock Baser, it sounds like clotting. He's their top scorer. Is led with 7 goals, is out tonight, so that's a huge miss, and I'm just not too sure a lot of that supporting cast of Vancouver. There's already been kind of question who's going to step up. Well, if you have a question, then it's not good. Connor McDavid has been playing well for the Oilers. Can't overlook that. So I think Oilers take it. But really, I mean, I think Canucks style a little bit, but both of them have been back and forth, and we have 5 days rest coming in.
Yeah, so my heart is telling me Edmonton is going to be the team because I want to show everybody that Dallas has a defense that can shut down Connor McDavid. You know how I talked about Minnesota having house money going into this Western Conference Final against the Mavericks? It's the opposite for Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor, he has no house money. He has all the money.
Conor McDavid, oh my God.
Yeah, $200 million. Yeah.
Excuse me while I take a drink from that one.
Yeah, you got to... I didn't know Connor. I mean, he probably would try hockey. I don't know.
I think he'd be okay at hockey.
He'd be if there was still the enforcer role. That would be Connor. Could you imagine him skating backwards?
No.
Yeah. He's like, what is this?
Okay. So Connor McDavid doesn't have the luxury of house money anymore at this point in his career. He needs something big on his resume outside of winning MVPs. He's stellar. He is a superstar. He is Connor McJesus, as Pat McAfee says. But in order to achieve everything he needs to win the conference, and he eventually needs to win a cup to be up there with your Wayne Gretzky's, for example. So I think that pressure is going to play into it. I can't remember. Edmonton hasn't been this far in the playoffs either, have they?
No. And here's my thing, though, is like the Oilers are good. I don't know that he completely has all the complete support around him like we do. And so he has to play extra hard. But, I mean, if he goes down, I mean, that's kind of how their mirror image, I mean.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're the Dallas Stars, you let Connor McDavid do whatever the hell he wants. You shut down everybody else. You say, I'm only going to let Connor McDavid beat me. I'm not going to let the Edmonton Oilers beat me. I'm just going to let Connor McDavid beat me. Because I think we have enough to offset the difference. We have enough stars, no pun intended, on our team.
Man, you're just getting that. Usually, I'm the one with the puns. I see. I wonder between Luka and Kyrie who has puns.
Probably Luka, because he told that ref he was fouling.
I mean,
in
they're
love
both
with her.
dads.
Did you hear what I said?
I fall in love with you. That's true. That was great. I do love that. And I'm actually looking at my brain right now. That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm not wrong. Listen, you're just building my case that I am more Kyrie and you are more.
Kyrie
Luka.
should have puns though. He's a dad too.
It's fine if he's got what, 3 kids?
I think so. Did you see that video? Giving the fist pound.
Yeah.
But all right, but back to Connor
Luka's a cheeseball, and so are you, and I love you.
Back to Connor McDavid.
Connor McJesus, Pat McAfee. Anyway, like I said, I would say you would let Connor McDavid beat you and shut down everybody else and make up the difference with your Robertsons, your Sagans, your Ben, your Marchment, everybody. Like, we have so many great players on this team. On any given night, it's their night. Whereas in Edmonton, it's like I can't function without my Connor McDavid. And I think that plays into our favor. I feel like Vancouver has a collective, kind of like we do. And I think that's not the better matchup for us. But, hey, we'll see how Game 7 goes. Throw them both at me. They don't know what
Just
mess
like
they're
these
about
flies.
to get into.
So.
Did you see what I did there?
You go drink again. Drink again. You know what's interesting, though? Compared to any other sports, at least right now, especially between NBA and hockey, how quickly Stanley Cup odds change just overnight. Like 2 weeks ago, it was the Oilers in the number 2 spot behind Florida. Weeks before that, it was Carolina and Colorado. Now it's the Stars right now.
Stars
and
Panthers.
And Panthers, which Panthers makes sense. I mean, completely.
Do you want to drop any notes on this Eastern Conference matchup? Because this New York and Florida series is going to be absolute fire.
I think it's going to be at least 6 games.
I think this one also goes
you
to
think
full
it'll
7.
Go 7?
Florida's nickname is the Cardiac Cats. I have seen them come.
I don't think I heard that.
No, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not making this up on the spot.
The Cardiac Cats.
Do you remember I went to the Panthers and Stars game back in April?
Yeah.
And the Stars went up 3-0 and somehow lost 4-3.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
We don't have to talk about that, but I'm saying the Florida Panthers were top 3 in comeback wins. New York is a high-powered offense. They can score a lot of goals. Shesterkin is an absolute monster in goal. But Carolina's got a monster in goal as well in Bobrovsky.
Yeah.
And then they have a bunch of young dudes that can absolutely, just turn it on whenever the fuck they want.
Well, and just talk about, just real quick, how the evolution of that team, I mean, for years, it was a struggle bus for them. And they turned it around.
Yeah,
and
who plays hockey in South Florida?
Well, I mean, you also got the Lightning, who are like, hey, we got 2 back-to-back titles. Who they beat and stole their thunder.
Drink.
And won the East last year. So they're right. I mean, I get right. They're a heavy favorite. It's going to be a good series. It's going to be a smash mouth series.
I want to see the fights.
If I have to lean towards it, I'm going to lean a little bit towards the Panthers. They just like you said, find ways to win. They're gritty, and they got that experience they have. But I think the Rangers need to come on strong fast.
And I think the New York Rangers do. New York Rangers tend to score early. They're very methodical in how they play hockey. I've always compared the New York Rangers to the Spanish national soccer team. The Spanish national soccer team does these short, quick passes in triangles, essentially, down the field. They move really quickly, but everything they do has a purpose. And I feel like the New York Rangers play that same style in hockey, and that's why I feel like that's how they're able to score more goals. They score a lot of goals off of just centering the puck, and whoever's in the center hits it in, deflects it in. And it's the perfect recipe. So I want to see how Florida is going to like break up the methodology, essentially. If you are able to stop the logic, you can win games. But hey, it's really hard.
It's not easy. It's not easy. But I will say, the credit to Rangers is no matter what, even if they get into overtime, they know how to capitalize too. I mean, I think these teams are almost sort of close to being mirror image. That's why it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a really drag out. I mean, my preference only based on like if we win the home ice. But then again, we've been so good on the road. So either or. I'm kind of really excited to see that fight between. I'm calling it a fight, but it is going to be a fight between the Panthers and Rangers.
Okay. So how about this? What is the better city, New York or Miami?
You know what's funny? Even though my dad's from Miami, I've only been to Miami once, and I've only been to New York City once.
Okay, so you're the perfect audience for this.
I will go to New York City because I love the music scene there. I love the artsy. Like I like Miami, but it could be a lot. For me. And I love the water, but I love music. I love theater,
I'm the opposite.
SNL.
I feel like New York is too much for me. I have a 3 to 4 day quota on how many days I'm allowed to spend in New York before I get absolutely exhausted and I hate it there.
So me and Steve are going to New York then.
That's fine. You can take him. I love Miami. I love the beach. I love the food. I love the Latin
food is
culture.
really good.
I love that my grandparents have a penthouse in Boca. Yeah, so I think Miami is more my style.
I don't know that I could live in Miami. I think I'd be in trouble because the nightlife is so invigorating. But I do like to dance. But I love my music. I love my pizza.
All right, then. So you got a New York person and a Miami person right here.
And then, so for Luka and Kyrie's like, I've been to all of them. Well, not Florida, but it's been a lot of the East Coast, West.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. All right. So you're saying stars in?
I'm going to go stars in
You're going to say 5, aren't you?
5.
I knew you were going to do that.
Stars
you
in 5.
are that confident.
I am. I'm at least 89% confident. Look, like you said, can't underestimate Connor, but once again, it does come to your support and having home ice, and we're great on the road. And I think we got out of the two really most dangerous styles for us, and I think these styles makes fight.
I knew you were going to say.
And we're number 1, baby.
I should have bought you. I'm going to buy you a shot for that one because you read my mind. Yeah,
Yes,
I don't think the Stars and the Canucks / Oilers go 7. I think at this point the Stars have defeated 2 absolute boogeymen of teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to take away anything from these Canadian teams, but they are just not as good as the Knights. They're not just as good as the Avalanche. I say this ends in 6. And I want to see our Stars in the Stanley Cup Finals against either New York or Florida.
Awesome. Well, we'll just have to wait tonight. Anything can happen. I love playoff hockey because it reminds me of kind of like playoff basketball a little bit a lot of times. Or more like college basketball.
I think playoff hockey is better than playoff basketball.
No, I meant to say like March Madness.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But
There's so much
I just want to put it out there because,
Yeah.
Living in Texas, a lot of people don't understand the hype of hockey.
Yeah.
I still have friends that'll be like, nobody watches hockey. I said, have you ever been to a Stars game?
They do now if you're in Dallas.
But think about it. You've been to both. You've been to a Mavs game and a Stars game in the same season. Both teams perform relatively well, so you can't discount that. When you're in the American Airlines Center for a Mavs game versus a Stars game, which team brings more energy?
Oh man, the Stars are so much fun. The only they may not have the Knights intro, which I'd love to go see that because I think that's cool, but they have the energy in the crowd, and that's what it's all about.
Are you kidding? Victory Green went streaking the other night. How is that? That's the best. He's the best mascot in sports. Victory Green, you have my vote.
He went streaking. That's something. I can say in my mascot days I did not go streaking with the suit. No. But no. Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. Stars. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, moving on to other Dallas sports. Let's talk about the Rangers a little bit. We touched on it last week. The Rangers still are holding strong in second place in the AL West. A lot of different moving parts are happening. Guys are getting more healthy. We're getting return times on like a Josh Young. Will be back in the next couple weeks, for example.
Which is good.
It is May 20th. Are you concerned?
I mean, we're still at number 2. I just want to see us get healthy. The only like slight concern, not major concern, and this is not even just my concern, it's also Bruce Bochy's concern, is some of the major hitters have been a little cold. I think Garcia's hurt too right now.
Yes, he is.
But even before he's hurt, the hitting hasn't been as consistent, and that's what went cold in August of last year. Once that picks up, I'll be a lot better. It's still early, so I'm not like hit the button. We're number 2 still, and this division, it's competitive. Kind of reminds me of the NFC East, but I just want to see us to get healthy because it's exciting.
Yes, it is a lot of fun when all of your teams are performing to their best. I agree. However, baseball is 162 games of absolute hell.
182.
Is it 82 now?
82. 100. Is it 62?
It's 62. Yeah, thank you, Tanner.
I gave him extra games.
So like
They're
Luka,
like, you better shut your mouth.
like Luka, Charlie can't do math. Anyway, it's okay. It's not
that
your strong
adds
suit.
up.
Drink. Anyway, 162 games of absolute hell. We are in month number 2 of this season. I am not worried. As long as Houston continues to suck, I'm not worried.
They are right behind us a little bit.
Somebody go bang a trash can.
They are right behind us a little bit, but no, I mean, I just get healthy. But the batting, though, before the injury at bat, we'll need to hit up a little
We're
bit more.
about 2 months away from the All-Star break.
That's when I start sweating a little bit.
But what
Not
comes
because
with
of
the
heat.
All-Star break is the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any position in particular you're like, we got to trade for somebody?
Well, I will say, I mean, honestly, one that we were missing, I feel like, with Mitch Garver. This is where you miss kind of the DH. I don't know what you would get out of a DH, but I would still get another pitcher if you can. I mean, I feel like we won't get DeGrom until probably close to August. Scherzer will be back maybe June, July, but, we know, like, as veteran as he is, 4 or 5 innings are at best. Lorenz has kind of been okay, but I still want to see, like, if one of these guys go down, who's going to be that guy to come in the pitching, and maybe one closer.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm not worried about starting pitching. Once we get some of those guys back, we'll feel a little bit better. But I am concerned about relief pitching. And I think trading for a big-name closer on one of these weaker squads, and, as the season develops, we'll figure out who are the sellers. But I think that is the one thing we're missing. Like, I love Leclerc with all my heart, and I appreciate him helping us win a World Series. But I would, if some big name is on the streets, let's go get him. We have the capital. We have picks. We have farm system. Whatever we got to give up in order to be able to repeat, because we should capitalize on the time. Like, it's really hard to go back-to-back, and this roster is too talented not to go back-to-back. So I would say, in the Jerry Jones voice, we're all in and actually mean it.
Well, I'll say to this point, we did go.
Did you see the puppy?
We did get, bringing Yates. He was with the Braves. He can be a good closer. I think he's had some injuries. Sports has been hurt too. So, but I do agree with the Leclerc. Leclerc, I feel, has some confidence issues. It's very inconsistent. If you can find somebody, because it's kind of like Martin Perez for a little bit.
I miss you so much, Martin
I know,
Perez.
but if, like you said, I think relief, but I still wouldn't mind one more pitching because it can matter come in the postseason because we had Monty last year, and we're missing that. And especially, it depends on how DeGrom looks coming back in August. I mean, he's 35 now, will be 35, and come off his second Tommy John.
Aren't you like 35?
I'm 36, so thank you for bringing. So in football, I'm done, unless if I'm Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
Remains to be seen.
Yeah. But I would still get one more starting and one more reliever if we can. They're going to make moves. I believe in that.
Well, we'll definitely do a full-fledged Rangers episode here in the next couple weeks with one of our special guests that you might have met last year if you have been following us. Additionally, I'm going to throw this out here right now. We still owe you guys a Cowboys episode, so a little bit of post-draft salary cap analysis. We'll schedule that coming up soon. But I feel like between the Mavs, the Stars, and the Rangers, Dallas sports is in a really, really great place. And being in this moment, we should treasure this because come November, December, January, we're going to be miserable. But anyway, moving on. So we teased this earlier in the episode that Charlie and I both blew out our vocal cords over the weekend, knowing that we have a commentating gig this weekend.
We do.
So if you tune into our last week's episode with Stephen Ocho Peterson, he has a fight promotion that we've been working very closely with, and they've got their Rivalry 3 event this weekend. Saturday night amateur fights, Friday night amateur fights, Saturday night professional fights, the best of what DFW has to offer. And Charlie and I are going to be cage side for all the drama.
We will be. We got a little taste of this on the 20th for their True Grip, which is more exhibition, MMA sparring, and Muay Thai. But now this is the real deal. This counts. Amateurs on Friday.
These are sanctioned fights.
Sanctioned fights. Somebody's, record is going to go
Somebody's
up.
O has got to go.
Yeah, somebody's O's got to go. And, we had Ocho on, Stephen Ocho Peterson on last week to break it down. But, man, we're so excited to be a part of it. There's going to be some longtime local veterans on it. I know Hayward Charles. I've been watching him since like 2011, 2012 in the DFW area. So it's going to be good to call his fight, but also some of these up-and-comers too.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I love, you and I have been going to local shows for almost a decade. For me, it's almost a decade, you even longer. And just seeing these guys' journeys from a promotion like 3FL moving on to maybe an LFA or a Fury, and then eventually making it to Contender Series or UFC. Just being an integral part of that journey. And these, it doesn't seem like these fights matter, but they truly do. This is the moment that you
Every
build,
fight matters.
But you're building your foundation, right? You're putting yourself on the map as an up-and-coming fighter in the state of Texas, which, by the way, highly competitive market in terms of fighters. That's one thing. And the second thing is, how do you portray yourself to not just the media, but to fans? Do people like watching you? Are your fights exciting? If there's a moment to be an absolute showboater, this is it.
Yeah, definitely. And, especially, I will say, for some of these a little bit more experienced guys, too, especially on the pro, you mentioned, there's LFA, Peak Fighting now, went to their promotion, really well done. Also, and those are gateways to the UFC, to Bellator, PFL, so it's great to see that Stephen Peterson, Ocho's putting this on, and it being another catalyst and catapult for up-and-coming fighters in the area, and I'm glad we get to be a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's been such a joy to work on this side of the table. You and I have had competition experience. We've been in the cage or in the octagon or in the ring, depending on pick your poison, on the mats, if you will. But being on this side, watching the journey and watching this promotion grow. I mean, he just started this maybe 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was just an idea coming off a UFC fight, essentially being I can do what they can do. And now his goal is to build up Texas fighters.
Which is great. The Texas fight scene's been here for a long time, but not always the best promoted. Inconsistency in promotions. Just a lot of promotions have gone away. Still hats off to XKO and because Legacy is not technically a Texas promotion, but there used to be. It was, and then it morphed into LFA.
Yeah,
But there's been so many in my time that have gone away, and especially those that really showcase amateurs. So I'm glad that they get to do it.
So is there anything in particular you're looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, the amateur card is going to be exciting, but I love seeing that there's a veteran, some of these veterans like Hayward Charles, and I say if I'm only saying it's a fight because we got to get there. That's how fights work. But I'm excited to see him. I'm a big fan of his, and just to be able to be on that mic and commentate his fight, I've been a big fan for a long time.
Yeah, I'm excited to commentate too. I think having the little taste of it a couple weeks ago when we were at True Grit, I was like, oh my gosh, I really like this. I really enjoy doing the research, getting to know these guys, and then getting to see them perform. Guys and girls, by the way.
Yes.
I will say this. Like I said before True Grit, I think one of the most exciting things about working on a card like this is you are going to see the moment a star is born. And we touched on this a little bit last week. with the fighters that fought in the rain outside in the cage. One of them is on this amateur card.
Yeah,
Sweet
John Laughlin.
Hands is on this amateur card. Looking forward to seeing what he does, and then just seeing who rises above the cream, who's the cream of the crop, essentially. And you and I get to be there from the beginning with the weigh-ins and the press conference all the way through to the end of the pro fights. The event itself is going to be an absolute spectacle. 2 days. I believe there's a car show during the day one day, loads of vendors, loads of food, taking place at KO Live in Arlington, Texas. For tickets, go to f3levents.com. We'll post the link later. I mean, we've been posting it all over our socials. And if you can't make the fight, subscribe to the pay-per-view at ochotv.net. And that's where you'll hear us and see us in action.
Yeah, I can't wait. Good way to kick off Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing something you and I both absolutely love.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. I'm ready.
All right, Charlie. Is that it for us today?
Yeah, well, I was going to say real quick, just real quick. Saw The Iron Claw. Here's my quick movie review.
Oh, you just saw it
Yeah,
now.
just saw it.
Okay,
Just
go.
Well, I have HBO Max. I really don't go to the theaters as much. I'm excited. I think I might have told Tanner you this, that I saw The Iron Claw. So Von Erich's just real quick, iconic Dallas wrestling family. My mom actually knew them way back just
Okay, way
through high
to
school.
name drop Mary Van
I know.
over here.
Well, she's the one that introduced me to them. I mean, they were always a legend in the ring here. She was a
Okay,
camp
so how was the
counselor.
movie? How's the movie?
It is good. I like it. I mean, I think there's one of the brothers that didn't feature Chris, but that's okay. I thought as far as the portrayal of how each of their personalities, I thought that was done well. With Hollywood, there may be some liberties, but Kevin, unfortunately, the only one who's still around. I mean, he thought it was good, and if he thought it was good, I thought it was a good portrayal. Although Zac Efron was buff, and Kevin's a little more thinner,
you
but
took
that's
the words
okay.
out of my mouth.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great, though. Probably the only thing I would have loved to see a little bit more. For those that know that Kerry Von Erich wrestled Ric Flair at the old Texas Stadium, they didn't really show that. But that wasn't a deal breaker, but I still was like, that would have been cool to see Texas Stadium.
Okay. Scale of 1 to 10. How was it?
I give it about a 7.5.
All right. A C plus or a C-ish. Okay. Well then, like I said earlier, you can find us at pouringtakes.com. Interact with us as we keep posting content. We are looking forward to what happens in these Western Conference Finals for both the Stars and Mavs. And with that, we're out of here.
See you guys next time.